So we're gonna head out to the alignment shop. You guys can see my steering wheel is off-centered. I'm driving straight and it's not centered where it should be.
If you can right in that joint, you can feel it separating. So you do have some inner tie rod play.
Okay.
I would say let's replace that first before doing the alignment.
Yo, what is up there, guys? Welcome back to the channel. We are once again in the garage, and so you know what that means. It's gonna be either upgrades, or today actually it's gonna be a little bit different. We're gonna be doing some repairs actually. So little backstory, guys. I've owned my GX now for 5 years now actually. I think this week marks the 5th year I've had with my GX, and I haven't broken anything on the GX until recently. So we are going to be replacing the inner and outer tie rods. So outer tie rod over here, and then the inner tie rod is back inside towards the frame. So we're going to replace those components today. You guys might have already seen the video from earlier where I went to the alignment shop, and within 5 minutes of putting my GX onto the platform, they raised it to check the 12 o'clock position, 6 o'clock position, and also the 9 and 3 positions, and realized that the 9 and 3 position, the tire was having some play. So when I saw that, I immediately knew it was going to be my tie rods, and they confirmed, yes, it's my tie rods. And so today we're going to work on that. All right, guys, so what we're going to need is, again, outer tie rod, inner tie rod. The part numbers for them is here for the outer tie rod, and the inner tie rod is right over here. So take a screenshot if you guys need to, but these are the parts we're going to be using for replacing the worn out parts on the GX. These are band clamps that I bought. We're going to use them for the billows for the tie rod boot, and then you'll also need, I went over to AutoZone and I rented out this master inner tie rod set. There's the part number, and it's just basically a long rod that connects onto all these different types of I guess crow's feet, so to speak. So we're going to use that along with a ball joint press. You can use this. There's different types that we can use. I may be using either this one or that one depending on how hard it is. If you don't have that, you can also use a hammer to hammer to separate the ball joint from the tie rod from the knuckle. And then of course, just an assortment of pliers if I need them. A 19mm socket, it might range in sizes, a ratchet, and also my stubby. So let's go ahead and jump right into it and pull the GX back into the garage and start taking it off. Tire has been removed. All right, guys, so we're gonna go ahead and get my dikes, remove this cotter pin here, take off this castle nut, and then we're gonna use that ball joint separator to pull this off from the knuckle. And now comes the cotter pin. Now we're going to use a ball joint separator to get this out. Now again, if you guys don't have a ball joint separator, you can use the hammer to hammer right over here where the knuckle is at, and that usually should free up the tie rod from the knuckle. All right guys, we're going to just squeeze this ball joint separator in, And once it's in its location here, and you guys can see the separator rod or the bolt sits right on top of the tie rod bolt. So it'll anchor itself on the knuckle down over here, as you guys will see where my thumb's at. And we're gonna use either impact or a 19mm socket up on top over here, right over here, to break that down. All right, and just like that, you guys, out comes the tie rod. I forgot to mention, make sure your steering wheel is as straight as it can be. If it's a little bit cocked or turned a certain way, you guys could potentially have the steering wheel be off-centered. I went ahead and put the tie rod back into the knuckle because I forgot that we have to take off this nut. It should be clockwise, let's see. So it's clockwise. And that breaks up that nut. And now we can take off the castle nut off my tie rod. Now what we want to do is, I'm going to bring this back, because this is important to a certain extent. Because after you're done with this, of course you can take it to the shop to get it aligned. But in the meantime, if you want to drive straight as possible to get to the shop, keep this nut here, and I'll tell you why. We're going to take off the tie rod. Okay, so once it's off, so check this out, guys. We're gonna spin this off and we're gonna count the revolution. So it's gonna be, it's right here, right? So we're gonna go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 14, 15, 16. So about 16, 15 and a half. You wanna go ahead and do the same thing when you put the new tie rod back inside. You wanna do 16 or so revolutions back onto the nut back over here before you put it on to secure it. This will just help ensure you guys have a nice straight driving ability to make it to the shop. This ball joint's still okay. It still has some firmness to it still. I have to really force it. So this is still good, but I'm gonna keep it as a spare for trail use. So we'll go ahead and put this to the side. And now we're gonna focus our attention on the problem that the GX is having. This whole shaft here, right behind this boot cover, hides the inner drive shaft, the inner tie rod. You guys can see, check this out, it just drops. So this has to be replaced. So it has a little bit of some play here, but definitely it should not be this loose. Let's go ahead and get this clamp off. It's just held on by this clamp-like style, so this easily comes off. So the inner tie rod, tie rod has this clamp right here that you have to be able to release in order to get the boot here out. I don't have the right tool to take this off, so I am just improvising for now. So don't judge me, guys. The main goal is to get this boot here off, and it's off. This stuff works wonders if you guys ever want some. PB Blaster silicone lubricant. I just spray a little bit right there, let it just do its thing. Just gonna kind of move it back and forth a little bit, allow the lubricant to get into the little cracks. I am gonna use a pick to just kind of help me get this in there. And then once I do, just kind of use it to help me to bring it over that little lip right there. Okay, now worked. And now comes the boot. But you guys can see this clamp here. It's the OEM clamp style right here. So this tells me that this hasn't been replaced. So this is more likely the original OEM one. So my GX has 140,000 miles on there, and this finally gave out. So I take it off-road every single month, at least once a month. So for it to finally go out after 5 years of ownership, and this is my only repair I've done to my GX, I am not gonna complain. All right, so the kit comes with all these different sizes of crow's feet here. You just have to find the right one that goes into the tie rod. And so, for example, here's the new one. So you want to just find one that just fits right along here. That one's not going to do it. Oh, there we go. This is the one. Fits like a glove. All right. So the way how this works is the crow's feet you guys have, it gets inserted into this little slot here and the tool itself. Once you have it there, right, you can go ahead and turn this guy over just like so, and it locks this in place. So that way the actual crow's feet here doesn't go anywhere. All right, so that's in there. I'm not gonna go anywhere now. All right, so a little bit of leverage, and this should just come right off. And there it goes. But we'll take off the crow's feet here, and there's a tie rod. Comes right out. You guys can see how much play this thing has. I mean, it's ridiculously just loose. There's like no life. 140,000 miles, and this is where it's at. Now keep in mind, whatever I've done here on the driver's side, it's just a repeat for the passenger side. So just a heads up. Here's the new one. I cannot move this. This is not, it's not budging, guys. This is what a properly functioning inner tie rod should be like. So we're gonna go ahead and put this in now. Just make sure it threads and then catches the thread. I'm gonna look it up, but we're gonna also torque this down to make sure it fits the factory specs too. According to the online world, it should be 61 foot-pounds. So I've already got this down to 61 foot-pounds. Okay, doesn't take much, but that's all it takes. Let's slip this back out. Take out the crow's feet. Next up is gonna be putting the boot back on. Okay, so for the boot here, I have this adjustable band clamp that I'm gonna use. Now, if you don't have this, you can use zip tie too. Zip tie is a alternative you can use if you have to use it. This will help keep the boot on for the most part and should prevent it from slipping and sliding out, because if it does, you're gonna have all sorts of dirt, grime, and water going in here, and it's gonna cause that to have a premature fail, so you don't want that. So I'm gonna use this here instead of using the zip ties. So let's go ahead and slip this on. All right, so that band clamp is nice and snug. This is not gonna go anywhere. Moving on to the clamp over here now for the front, right there. So this is the other clamp. Let's go ahead and just clamp this down. Okay, snip this on through. Once that's over. All right, so that is also there now. I'll just bring this out just slightly, so give it a little bit more, some flexibility. All right, so this is all done. We're going to reuse the nut that came with the original tie rod. Now remember, 16 or 15 and a half revolutions, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 14, 15, and 16. Okay, so let's keep that right there, right about here actually. The nut, we can go ahead and bring this back, and we will secure this once we put the castle nut and the tie rod back into the knuckle down over here. All right, to get this in there, it'll just take some maneuvering. We'll We'll move this joint around just so we can get it into the knuckle. Okay, easy as that, guys. New castle nut goes on. And then we'll torque this down too as well. I'll look it up and see what the torque specs are on this tie rod. And then we'll also cinch this nut down too. So tie rod looks like we are 66 foot-pounds for the castle nut. 66 foot-pound. That's perfect right there. You see that? That hole right there, that's for the cotter pin. That's where it goes. And let's go ahead and snake this on through. Make sure that stays in place. And that goes down. All right, and we're done, guys. So let's cinch up this nut here. This will get us through until we get to the alignment shop again. But for the most part, we are done. Now again, the passenger side is pretty much a repeat. But I hope that wasn't too hard for you guys. It was really easy. This took me less than 30-minute job at the utmost. So I'm gonna work on the passenger side now, but the driver's side is done. It's 19 and a half. A little bit more. That should be good there. All right, so we're done, guys. So you guys can see how easy this job is. So if you guys are worried about this type of job, I can assure you guys, if you guys have the right tools, ranging the right types of tools from AutoZone and the likes, this job can be done in 20 minutes or less, depending on your level of experience. All right, guys, this is going to conclude the inner and outer tie rod installation. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that. It was really quick, not that difficult at all. Car's back off the jack stands. Everything is fully torqued back down. We're good to go. You guys can see how easy that was for the installation. I think if I didn't do it with the camera and the editing and whatnot, that would have taken me maybe roughly 30 to 45 minutes to do both sides. Relatively easy, as long as you have the right tools, of course. So I had to count my blessings where I can count them. I'm happy that this has been resolved. So now I get to enjoy my vehicle. So now it's just off to the alignment shop and get this thing dialed in. So hopefully you guys have found that to be educational and whatnot. If you guys liked what you guys saw, please guys, don't forget to hit that like, subscribe, and comment below in the description. Other than that, guys, I will see you guys on the next adventure. Peace.
Can you hear me? Tell me, can you hear me? I've been calling out for help, still don't see nobody near